Unfoldables.
One moment can change a life forever. A traumatic event, a difficult battle, a painful chapter. The journey of actress Lisa Regina began with surviving violence. Through writing, she found healing. Through healing, she found purpose. Today, Heroic Episodes shines a light on those who rise, rebuild, and transform pain into strength. These are stories of courage, stories of resilience, stories of hope. Welcome to Heroic Episodes.
Hi everyone, welcome to Heroic Episodes. We are here live every Thursday at 7 p.m. I'm Lisa Regina, the founder of the nonprofit A Right to Heal and the creator of Heroic Episodes. And we are joined every Thursday live with veterans, advocates, artists, all who have chosen to heal, to create, and to inspire. And I know firsthand as a survivor that storytelling can truly be healing, not just for the person sharing their story, but for whoever may be listening. And I'm joined every week with my dear friend, patriot, author of Rockin' Soul, renowned photographer, and associate producer of Heroic Episodes, Barry Morgenstein.
Hey, Lisa. Good to be
Hi,
back.
Barry. How are you? Good to see you.
Doing good. Happy to be here with another great guest, as always.
I'm so grateful once again that you introduced me to your friend and that he is here tonight as our guest. Gary Brugman is a veteran, a border patrol agent. He has 16 years of service to our country. We're so grateful for his service. And 8 years in the Coast Guard, 4 years as a border patrol agent. And in 2001, Gary's life, one day on the job, was turned upside down, his world. And he ended up doing 27 months in prison, federal prison. And in 2020 was given a full pardon by President Trump. And we are here with Gary tonight. And yes, we're so glad that his story had a happy ending. And we're here with Gary. So let's bring him on. Hi, Gary.
Hey, Gary.
What's going on, Barry? Hello, Miss Lisa. How are you?
Very good to see you. It's been a while.
It's good to see you, Barry. I hadn't seen you in a minute. It's 2021 was the last time I saw you, I believe.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Wow, you're looking good. So glad you joined us.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me, Miss Lisa.
Yes, thanks for making time for us. So the last time you saw Barry was 2024. Where was that? What were
2021. It was in Florida.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That was at the Warrior Weekend, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm. Memorial Weekend. And that was a hard time for me because we had a great weekend planned, warriors and stuff like that and motorcycle rides.
Right.
And I got the news that my buddy Dan Cox had passed away that night before, and I had talked to him twice that day.
Yeah.
And if you remember, I was rattled really hard.
I remember we were talking to you.
Yeah.
We had just met. We had just met, but we became instant friends. So you confided in us. So I remember very well.
When I had known you about 2 or 3 years, and you've been one of my greatest friends ever. And thanks for having me on your podcast because you came on my podcast on episode 2 or 3 or something like that.
Right, I remember.
Well, I'm glad you became friends. You have another friend on here. Shelley Morgenstein just came on.
She's my friend too.
Awesome.
She loves you, Gary.
I know it. I love her too. I love both of y'all.
Thank you.
Oh, well, I love this. This is great. The first question everyone probably asks you this: had you always planned in your life to serve in some way in the military and serve our country? Was that something as a young guy you knew you wanted to do?
You know what? Absolutely not. I kind of wanted to, but I grew up with my mother and my grandmother, and I never grew up with a dad. Grew up in Catholic school, and in 1977 we had the 1977 blackout, and the whole city got ransacked, and that just changed my life. And the streets were calling me. I ended up going out of the streets but I always did want to serve because I was a Cub Scout, I was a Boy Scout, I was an altar boy, I was a AAA monitor in school, crossing guard at the corner on lunch hours and stuff. So kind of yes, but once the streets called, for about a decade, life got really hard. Drugs, streets, gangs, fights, and somehow I found my way out of it and found the right path. And I always wanted to be. I had a cop tell me one time, "You think you're tough because you're a little street thug, whatever." He goes, "Let me tell you, me and my friends, we're the toughest ones in the city, and we all got guns." I was like, "Oh my God," and that terrified me. Yeah. And then by that time the TV show Cops was coming out, and I was like, "Oh, these guys are tough." And I saw the service, and I wanted to become a police officer, but to be honest with you, I didn't know how. I didn't know how. I was touring with bands. I had a job. I had a lot of jobs. Drove trucks.
It sounds like that police officer was a blessing for you.
He was. His name was Detective Mo Curzio from the 83rd.
Right, remember his name?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So and then at age 22, I got to a point where I was just like, I need to do something, and I decided to join the military. I was like, I tried joining the Army when I was 17, and I failed one test called a MAP test, which is a mental aptitude something. And I failed it by 2 points because they had them stupid questions like, do your mom and dad fight a lot? I agree, disagree, partially. I didn't have a dad, so I didn't know how to answer the question. Right.
Yeah,
so I missed that points. So that didn't work. And then I tried joining the Marine Corps at 22, but they had like a 2-year wait in New York City.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So I left there, and then one day I just drifted into the Coast Guard station in Battery Park, and next thing I know, I was gone in 2 weeks.
Wow. What year was that, Gary?
That was 89.
Okay.
1989, yeah. And
wow,
yep, that was 89. Yes.
First time seeing that one.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, that was 1989, and I figured I'd go Coast Guard because they had a big poster that said the law on the sea. I was like, I can do this. I said 4 years. That's high school,
Right.
So I enlisted, and right from the get go, it was assigned to a ship. It was Key West, Miami, Florida, chasing drug runners in drug boats all around the Caribbean from the Bahamas, doing law enforcement, checking boat safety. I mean, it was great. And then I ended up getting transferred to New York, to Northport, and
Northport,
responded to one of the big things up there was TWA Flight 800 in '96. I responded to that.
Wow. Did you really? I didn't know that either.
Yeah, a lot. Did a lot of rescue up in New York. We did a lot of law enforcement. But it was more like fisheries, a lot of fisheries and boating safety. Not a lot of the drugs and stuff like that, like down in Florida. But it was still great. And I became an instructor up there. I became a defensive tactics and a law instructor. So I went around signing people off and teaching them law enforcement. It was fantastic. I love the Coast Guard. I had a blast. All my Marine friends make fun of the Coast Guard, and I'm like, hey, everywhere I went.
So were you in for 4 years in the Coast Guard?
No, I actually ended up doing 4 years. Then I enlisted, extended for another 3, and then I extended for another 2 because I did 8 years and 10 months in the Coast Guard, almost 9 years.
Wow.
Okay.
So in the beginning, were you in Cape May? Because we were talking before we went live that you.
Yeah, that's where we went to basic training, ma'am.
Basic training, yeah. The
Yeah,
furthest southern point of the state of New Jersey.
Yes. And you mentioned Wildwood. That's where we actually went on off-base Liberty.
Oh,
Nice.
nice.
Yeah, off-base Liberty. We had to go and look good in our little uniforms, walk around town, walk around Wildwood like a bunch of dorks,
Well, civilians love that. I think most civilians do. I know I do. When
it's like Fleet Week in Manhattan. It's just it's just a great thing to see the sailors in town and
I love this
at the bars, just walking around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Bad Rob is on. He says hi, Goat.
Hey Rob. Hey Rob. Christy's on too.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, 2 of our favorites.
Nice.
Yep. Well, one anyway, 1.5. me and Bad Rob have this love-hate relationship. He loves me, I hate him. I'm kidding, Rob.
He's our guest next week, so we'll have to dig into that.
Oh, excuse me, guys. Oh, that's great. I can't wait for that.
Yeah. So how did you segue into the Border Patrol? How did that come about?
And was that right after the Coast Guard?
The next day after I was discharged.
Get out the
So
next day.
I tried getting into the Border Patrol 3 times, and I now I try to think about, I don't know why, because of what happened, but 3 times. So when in '92 we were doing the Haitian operation, the very first time that Aristide got overthrown in that coup in '92, when all the Haitian refugees were coming, I was there for that. We were picking them up on our ship, bringing them back to Guantanamo Bay. So we had a bunch of INS agents and Border Patrol agents actually on our ship. And these guys were the coolest, toughest guys I had seen. I was like, this is what I want to be. I want to be a federal. I want to be a Border Patrol agent. So they gave me a link. Well, we didn't have links back then, but they gave me a way to do it. And I applied. And then Hurricane Andrew came through South Florida and wiped out my whole house.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I had actually got accepted. And they sent me an acceptance letter, but I never got it because my house was wiped out, and we ended up.
Oh my God! Wow.
The military ended up transferring us to Fort Lauderdale. So then I tried again in 94, 95, or around there. I forgot the exact year, and I went through the whole process, and I got accepted, and my end of enlistment was coming. I was like, "Hey, are y'all gonna hire me? Are y'all gonna hire me?" I mean, I got another month. I got another 3 weeks. I got another 2 weeks. It came down to the last week. And, I was married with a child back then. I couldn't just leave the military without having a job. And they're like, no,
Sure.
we're ready. We're just waiting for everything to process. You're hired. We just need to get you the acceptance letter, make you the offer. I'm like, well, hurry up. Didn't happen. So I extended for another couple of years. And 2 weeks later, I get the damn letter.
Oh, no.
Wow.
To report to report to Imperial Beach, California. I was like, oh. So I went to my command and wrote a letter to headquarters, and they sent me a letter back saying, "Yeah, nice try. Have a nice day and enjoy your enlistment." And I was like, shit. So the third time I went through it again, it worked out perfect because I was discharged. My end of enlistment was February 22nd of 1998. And February 23rd, I was in Del Rio, Texas, swearing into the Border Patrol.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
So that was great. And I had tried for other jobs as well.
That's a great.
There we
part.
go.
I love
that. That was actually a good promo photo that they were going to use for a recruitment, but I was a poster boy.
Yeah. I see that.
Yeah, I was young then. I was young then too. I was 32, and
Yeah, that's a great photo. That's how good you still have that.
Yeah, that's beautiful. You've had a lot to overcome. I mean, your house being wiped out completely, and then missing the letter. Of course, you probably didn't even have a mailbox if your home got wiped out. How do you keep going? You're resilient. What keeps you going?
I've been asked that before, Miss Lisa, and the truth is, I don't know how to quit. All right, I wish I did know how to quit, because sometimes I've prayed for quit to be in my vocabulary, because I've just wanted to be done with life sometimes. And I can't say that I haven't tried it. Okay, when I was I'm gonna need one for this one. When I knew I was going to prison. Cheers.
Yeah.
Here we go.
You're a badass, Gary. We love you.
Yes. Here's to you.
Thank you. When I knew I was going to prison and going to trial, I got suspended from work without pay, and I was sitting there drinking every day. And at this time, the war in Iraq was kicking up, so it was everything on the news. Tanks, everything was happening. It was 2002, and I was just done. So one time I tried popping a bunch of Valiums. I was like, I'm done. I'm out. I'm checking out. I tried popping a bunch of Valiums, and that didn't work because the girlfriend found me, and They brought me back to life. Great. Pumped my stomach. And I didn't know this until afterwards, but the whole hospital was full of Border Patrol agents because technically it was an agent down, and I never even saw it that way. And everybody was running around, but I was out cold. They were pumping my stomach. And then shortly after that, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to try that again. I'm going to go the old Glock method, but I was too much of a coward to do it. So I started drinking. I went to bed with a gun in my hand, and sure shit, it went off just like I planned. It just didn't hit me. It hit the roof.
Oh my God.
And I come to the conclusion
that, but thank God.
Yeah, thank God. God has a plan for you. Right. Obviously, God, you're meant to be here.
Yeah.
And that was it. I come to the conclusion that nobody's bad enough to kill me, not even me. and my problem is that if I continue to try it, I'm gonna fail. And then I'm not afraid of dying. I'm afraid of living. Because I'm gonna do something stupid to myself, and then I'm gonna walk around, with a half a face or a vegetable for the rest of my life. And so I leave everything up to God. So now these days, whenever I have issues or anything, I look up, I'm like, you please handle this. I can't do it. Take care of it. I seen the posters. Don't worry about nothing. God has you,
Yes.
So I leave everything up to God now.
And you have a lot of friends here. Everyone's saying, I love you, buddy. It looks like Marissa.
Oh, yeah, Miss Marissa.
Yeah.
Yes.
Shelley, glad you're still here, my friend. Appreciate your service from James Cote. Is it Cote?
I think it's Cote.
Cote, yeah. Good evening from Planter Free, Maine. Platner. Platner, excuse me. I'm wearing my contact lens tonight.
It should be a platinum-free Earth.
Yeah, that should be on a T-shirt, I guess.
Right.
Another great photo.
That is a badass photo. I love that.
Look at that.
So that's the Rio Grande behind me. That's in a little town called Quemado, Texas, which means burnt, because I guess at some point the whole town burnt down in the early 1900s or something. There was a big fire, so it's called Quemado, Texas, and that's the Rio Grande, and Mexico is just on the other side.
Wow.
And if you look at that picture, that was right there in that picture, the Border Patrol. We were under the Department of Justice back then because there was no Homeland Security. This was before 9/11. And if you look, there's no Homeland Security patch on the right arm, because traditionally Border Patrol agents only wore the Border Patrol patch on the left. And it's not the new uniforms. It was actually polyester we were wearing. And it's
oh my God.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, it's the old Border Patrol. Nowadays they wear all the tactical uniforms with the plate carriers, and they got the 2 patches, and it's a whole new Border Patrol. That's old patrol right there. Even if the other one with the vehicle, it's got the old Border Patrol logo on the door. So these are old pictures.
No, I never saw that one either.
That was graduation.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that was graduation. Yeah,
Pink Angel Boutique.
Esther.
Yeah, Esther says, "Love you, Gary."
I love her too. She's so awesome. She's so awesome.
You're surrounded by love. That's awesome.
I know it. and when I was dying of COVID, I felt it. I felt everybody's prayers when I woke up.
Oh yeah.
Amazing. So, power of prayer. Definitely.
I'll never forget that either. Yeah, that's all scared
there. The Border Patrol was a great job. I felt like I accomplished everything that I wanted to accomplish when I was in the Border Patrol, because I was I'd been an instructor in the Coast Guard, and I went on to the Border Patrol, did a lot of things in the Border Patrol, and then one day it all changed. Yeah.
Can you take us back to that day that it changed, and of course talk about as much as you're comfortable talking.
I'm good.
You were doing your job, so let's hear about it. You were doing your job.
So it was January 14th, and this goes in stages because there's a lot to absorb. So I'm gonna try to just take it out in blocks. There's like 3 big blocks. There's the first block, second block, and then the investigation and trial, and then prison. And there's so much, but I'll make it as quick as I can. It was January 14th, 2001. So it was 9 months before 9/11. January 2001. January 14th. Me and my partner, we were working a swing shift, 3 to midnight, and we were working the M24 area of Eagle Pass, which is just downriver of downtown. And around 6:30 p.m., the scope truck ended up spotting some people that came across the river. We had some sensor hits. It was a little downriver of us. He started chasing them. He says, "Hey, I got a group. They're about 15." He was after him. He got out of the vehicle, started chasing them. We hauled ass over there in our vehicle, and I got out, started chasing them as well. And my partner went to the river to cut off the river in case they started to go back. He was in the vehicle, and I was chasing these people for about a mile and a half, the whole time yelling for them to stop. Párense, párense. And,
On foot?
On foot, yes, ma'am, through a pecan orchard. And they were going over barbed wire fences. And down in Eagle Pass, they have these concrete laterals, which they use to like deliver water to water the orchards and stuff. They got like channels and locks on them. So they went through those, and I'm still yelling for about a mile and a half. I'm yelling them to stop, and I'm starting to lose ground on them because I got 38 pounds of gear. I'm starting to get tired after a mile and a half. And another agent and his trainee, 4 days out in the field, come up to me and they're like, "Hey, which way they go?" And I kind of pointed because I was out of breath, and they took off in the vehicle after him. They got to a point where they couldn't cross with the vehicle anymore. So the trainee, young kid, 20 something, 22, 23 years old, gets out, starts chasing them, catches the group. And I can see it in the distance. I'm still running. And by the time I'm approaching him, I can see he's doing this, telling him to get down. He's telling him to sit down. And the ones to his right were sitting down. The ones to his left were standing, and he was looking at them. But there were two illegal aliens behind him. He had his back completely turned, and they were all the way squatted down with their backpacks. We call them mochilas. They were there with their mochilas, and they were doing this number. And I didn't know if they were going to jump the agent because he had his back turned, or if they were going to take off running, which technically would have been an escape since they were already apprehended. And that's a whole lot of paperwork. I didn't want to do it. So, I saw them there, and I ran up, and I did exactly what they taught me in the academy. I put my hand on my weapon, and I used my leg as an extension of my arm, and I knocked them from the squatting to the sitting position. I basically knocked them on their ass.
Good.
And I wasn't nice about it. I knocked them on their ass. I used 100% force, and I told them, "Siéntate, tú también siéntate," right?
Mm-hmm.
And the other agents arrived. They got transported. That was it.
Wow. And
so
that was the beginning of your nightmare for doing your job.
Wow.
So 6 weeks later, on I take that back. It was January 22nd. 6 weeks later, on March 14th. January 14th, February 22nd, because it was my anniversary from when I got discharged. It was February 22nd, 6 weeks after January 14th. I was working a midnight shift because we switch shifts every 6 weeks from days to swings to midnights. So now I'm on a midnight shift with my partner, and just upriver of us, another agent had 46 traffic, which is drugs. They had 7 guys with backpacks bringing marijuana across. So wherever there's drugs, there's guns. That's the way we see it. So agents usually converge on that, which we did. By the time we got there, they had already jumped the group and they had scattered. So by the time we got there, we're like, okay, where's everybody going? And there were 7 mules. We got 5 of them, and the infrared camera tower had spotted 2 in another field, squatted in some high grass because it's infrared, so they can see them. Picked up the body heat. So they start guiding us over there, and it was me and my partner, and there was a barbed wire fence, and I said, I'll go over the fence. So I went over. I got my night vision, and in my earpiece, I can hear the cameraman telling me, okay, to your 10 o'clock, to your 9, and then I saw them with my night vision, and the grass was about 15 inches tall. It was about 2 feet tall, right? A little 24 inches tall, about a little over 2 feet, because it reached me just above the knees. And as I got closer to them, and this was about 4:30 in the morning, there's dew on the ground, like a little fog.
Yeah.
They got up and started running when they saw me. So again, here I am on a foot chase. Párense, párense, inmigración, párense. And they ran for about 25, 30 yards. They came to a barbed wire fence. I was literally about 8 feet behind them. I could just leap and try to catch them, but just beyond my reach. So they got to a barbed wire fence. They banged a hard right. I started chasing them up that far. They ran for about another 50, 60 yards. They came to another barbed wire fence. And the first guy leaped in between two strands of barbed wire, like Superman, jumping out of a window. They do that a lot down there. It's very impressive to watch every time. No matter how seasoned an agent you are, when you see them do that and hear it ripping their clothes, it's like, ooh.
Yeah.
But they do it. They dive right in between. And then the other guy that was right in front of me, he kind of looked back and saw that I was right there, so he wasn't going to get away with it. So he hit the fence and flopped over. And I had the momentum going. I said, hey, let's make it 3. So I hit the fence and flopped over as well. Now all 3 of us are on the ground on the other side. The first guy got up and ran. The second guy that was right in front of me, he started getting up, and I got him by the legs and brought him back down, and we were kind of tussling to get up, and I was trying to get to my feet, kind of wrestling here and there, tussling. And I was trying to get to my feet, but I didn't realize that he was only like this tall, but he was like this wide. He was only like this tall on me. He was already on his feet. And he picked me up, and I saw my boots and the stuff in the same picture frame. I said, oh shit, this is gonna hurt. And he body slammed me down on the ground.
Oh my God.
Wow.
He body slammed me down on the ground, knocked the wind out of me. Because I still remember when I hit the ground, I ended up like coughing because he knocked the wind out of me. I was like, ugh, I felt it. And then he jumped up, he literally jumped on top of me, grabbed me by my neck, and started choking me, putting his pressure on my neck. And I took a swing at him, but I missed. He leaned up and I missed. Then he grabbed this hand, pinned it to the ground, still had one hand on my neck, and I took this hand and grabbed him by his collar here. He was wearing a polo just like I'm wearing. Yeah. I started trying to keep the pressure off my neck. And I'm struggling, and he's literally sitting on top of him and kind of doing a pelvic thrust, trying to get him off, but I couldn't get him off me. And everywhere I looked around, all I saw was grass, because we were in tall grass. Oh, I can hear my earpiece, which I don't know if it was helping or not. I can hear everybody scrambling, trying to get to me. The cameraman, like, he's in a fight. We need agents to get to him. Somebody get to Brugman. Yeah. So, and I can hear, where is he? But so many things happened, and it probably happened in less than a minute and a half.
And back then, they weren't using drones, right? There weren't drones.
Oh. Well, we're lucky we had infrared cameras. Right. We're lucky we had night vision back then. And so I'm I can, as I tell this story, and every time I tell this story and I bring myself back there, I can bring myself right to the time, because I can still smell his body odor, because he had been backpacking all day long. Mm-hmm. I can smell his body odor, and he was sweating. He was dripping sweat, and his sweat was dripping on my face into my mouth. Ugh. I can still taste the guy. Yeah. Because he was just dripping sweat right onto my face. Everything was sticky. He was grabbing my hand. I was twisting it, because, again, we were both sweaty. And I was getting tired. And he was wearing a polo just like this. And I looked at the bottom button. And I looked at the button. I said, and I thought to myself, mother, if I can get to my gun, that's exactly where I'm going to put the bullet. And then I even thought, I'll have to turn my head. I said, I'll probably lose an eardrum, but I couldn't get to my gun. He had my hand. Wow. So now everything started getting slow on me, like getting really mellow, because I think I was starting to pass out. And I was starting to see yellow spots. And I'm like, so this is how I'm going to fucking die? So, pardon my friend, this is how I'm going to die? Yeah. I said, here? And all of a sudden I said, I remember what they taught me in the academy. If I am shot, I will shoot back. If I am shot, I will not die. If I am shot, before every firearms class, they made us repeat that 50 times. Really? If I am shot, I will shoot back. If I am shot, I will not die. So that came to my head, and I screamed out, God, please help me. And instantly I managed to break his grip on my hand. Oh my God. And I clocked him on the side of the temple. He fell off to my left. And immediately I got energy, and I rolled up on top of him, and I put my forearm into his throat. And I still remember I had this grip, because I started pushing down on his throat, and his right arm was now underneath me, but I can feel him grabbing at my handcuffs. Mm-hmm. And I had pepper spray, I had a baton, I had obviously my gun and handcuffs. He was specifically reaching my handcuff. He got my handcuffs. They teach you handcuffs are a gouging instrument. They can gouge your eyes or whatever. Either which way, he was grabbing at my gun belt. So I told him, I said, "Ah, no, puto, esto termina aquí." I said, "Oh, no, you son of a bitch, this ends here." So I wound up and I punched him square in the nose. And I took a second shot. I felt his nose break on the second shot because his eyes rolled back, and I gave him one more. Gave him one more.
God.
Little bonus.
Yeah.
Exactly. There you go. You wouldn't cry.
Jeez.
And he started yelling, "Oficial, ya no me pegues, por favor. Officer, please don't hit me anymore." I said, pues no pelees más, puto. So stop fighting, you son of a bitch.
Yeah.
You
He's
know?
trying to choke you. He's trying to kill you.
He was trying to kill me.
Yeah, no question.
And at that time he went limp, and I still kept the pressure on. And at this time I can look up above the grass and see other agents. And I started yelling, hey, over here. And I grabbed my flashlight, and they came, they dragged him, they cuffed him up. And I lied in on grass for like 5 minutes. They're like, you need to get up. I'm like, no, dude, I'm good. And I laid there. I couldn't get up. I was tired. I was done. I was exhausted. Mm-hmm. And then we wrote the memos. We took the pictures. And after about a month or so, I found out he got sentenced to 59 months in prison, almost 6 years in prison. So, and that's completely a different case from the first one. Had nothing to do with it.
Right.
So then 6 weeks later after that, March 15th of 2001, we came back from qualifying at the range. I get called into my supervisor's office, and Jimmy Hellickson. And I like Jimmy. Jimmy was always square with me. He was straight up. I liked him a lot. He's like, Gary, I'm going to need you to do something for me. I'm like, what's up, Jimmy? He's like, I need you to grab your gun, unload it, and put it on my desk. I'm like, why? What's going on? He goes, just do this and I'll explain afterwards. And I trusted him. So I was like, all right. So I gave him my gun, and he took it, and he says, you're going to be working in the garage until further notice because you're under investigation. I said, why? What's happening? And he goes, I don't know. It's not the Border Patrol. It's an outside agency. Wow. The Border Patrol didn't do this to me.
I didn't realize that. Yeah.
No, the Border Patrol never did this to me.
Really?
It was the Office of the Inspector General. So anyway, I said,
what is that, Gary? What is that again? Explain what that is? The Office of the Inspector General.
We call it OIG. It's Office of the Inspector General. Office of the Inspector General. A lot of agencies have their own Office of the Inspector General. There's one big main one, and they are kind of like the internal affairs for all the federal agencies.
Oh, okay.
They're just kind of like they'll investigate everybody. They're just kind of like a neutral board. Some agencies have their own Office of the Inspector Generals, but this was the Office of the Inspector General that came to investigate me, OIG.
Wow.
And but the thing is, they didn't know why. Nobody knew why. So I told them I didn't come here to change oil and do stuff on freaking cars. So they put me in the camera room. At least I can still be an active agent, work the cameras. So I was there for 18 months before they took me to trial. And at the 14-month mark, I got a letter from the U.S. Attorney in San Antonio, Western District, telling me that I was the target of an investigation. Wow. And they gave me the dates. And the whole time I'm thinking this is drug dealer because I broke his nose. I sent him to the hospital and he got sentenced and whatnot, right? And the guy's name, and now you got to track with me here. The drug smuggler's name was Miguel Angel Rodriguez Silva, right? Miguel Angel Rodriguez Silva. That was his name. So I already knew it in here because I've looked. I was like, I used all my levels of force. I told him to stop. I tried wrestling him using soft, empty hand control. I tried using, I didn't shoot him. I didn't kill him. I mean, what did I do wrong? I went through every level of force.
You survived.
When I get the letter,
yeah, exactly.
What's wrong with that? You survived.
Yeah, it's insane.
He's a criminal. You survived. I don't.
That's what's wrong.
I'm sorry.
With
I get angry.
I know. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating.
That's what happened. I survived. I guess I wasn't supposed to. I tell that to everybody. They give you all this training. They give you all these resources to survive and enforce the law and all that. But when you enforce the law and you survive the incident, forget about it. So when I get the letter, it says I'm the target investigation on an incident that happened on January 14th. And I was like, January 14th? That's not the date that I got into a fight with the drug smuggler. The drug smuggler's name was Miguel Angel Jimenez Saldan. They had the same first and middle names, Miguel Angel. So that threw me off. I'm like, what the hell's going on? I said, it's not the same guy. Jimenez Saldan, Rodriguez Silva. And I couldn't remember that incident because all I did was push a guy on the ground.
Right.
And we push guys on the ground all the time. You know?
Yeah. Again, your job.
Yeah.
And I started looking through the computer, through the files for that date. And guess what? For 3 weeks, there was a computer crash. All the files were gone. So I went to the hard files, the paper files. Guess what? The one I was looking for was gone. For a period of 6 weeks, period of 6 weeks, it's all gone. But what they didn't get, because I'm sure they erased it. They made it disappear. I have no doubt about that at all. Didn't know it back then. What they didn't get was the muster sheets, the roll call sheets that the supervisors keep. So I asked the supervisors for that, and they gave it to me. And I realized where I was working, M24 with Delmar Ramirez. They're charging me with the guy I pushed on the ground. I was like, oh man, I have nothing to worry about then.
Not
because
the guy who
that's like
which would still survived, and
which would still be crazy, which would still
is,
be insane. But still, the fact that this guy makes it even crazier,
more insane.
Exactly right.
I got charged with 18 Title 18 of the United States Code, subsection 242B, deprivation of rights under color of law. So while acting as a border patrol agent under color of law, I deprive somebody of their civil rights.
Oh,
and before you ask me, this illegal aliens don't have civil rights. Yes, they do. They have more than us.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Your pink angel Esther says, Lisa, I get so angry too every time I hear Gary's story. Just so you know, we're all here listening to this, getting like, yeah.
And so now I can't find an attorney because this was 2000. By now it's 2002. Oh, and the whole time, 18 months under investigation. Everybody's getting interviewed. They're trying to call all my friends, OIGs all over the place. Not once did they come and ask me for my side of the story. Never saw an investigator. Nobody ever said,
"Okay, you first." You should have been the first one they spoke to. Yeah.
At least the second. Okay, we got his story. Let's find out what he's got to say. You know?
Wow.
Never, ever saw an investigator. The first time I ever told my story was when I was at my trial when I was on the stand. And so if we fast forward to the trial, and then before the things that I said, the whole attempts and all that stuff that happened in between there. So when we went to trial, which was October of 2002, I had all my Border Patrol agent people there. I had my supervisors. And one thing about the Border Patrol doesn't have a very good reputation of sticking up for its agents. It never has. No agency really does. Very, very few, because it's very, especially the Border Patrol is a very political agency because we deal with immigration, race. So Border Patrol doesn't have a good history of sticking up for their agents. However, all of my supervisors and watch commanders were at my trial and testified on my behalf. All of them.
Okay.
The only agent that testified against me was, guess who? The trainee.
Trainee. God.
Really?
And
you probably saved his life. I mean,
and I did, but you know why?
He
because
had his back.
What was his problem?
I know.
Yeah, what was his deal? Why do you think he did that?
The government got to him and terrified him.
Wow.
The government shook him down and said,
he was
and you know how I know this is because certain things that he testified to made me realize that that's what the government wanted them to say, because he was saying, so
the language he was using,
right. He's, according to him, this thing happened, right around 3:00. I said, how can it happen around 3:00? We're in roll call at 3:00. We don't hit the street till 3:30. And then remember I told you that the agent that had the scope truck had the group coming up. The scope truck is an infrared scope truck. It doesn't come up at 3 PM. They don't go out to at least 6:30, 7:00 at night. So and this happened around 7:15 in January, which in Texas is kind of dusk, where it's like light on one side, dark on the other. It's dark in the east, a little lighter in the west. And they wanted it to be daylight because they wanted the agent to make sure that he would make mistakes about anything. And
Well, he made a mistake. He turned his back on 2 criminals and they could have
did.
killed him, but you
Yeah.
helped him and then
Absolutely.
he turned against you.
And so he says that he had total control, and I came up running and I kicked these guys to the ground, and then I grabbed the first guy and I started punching him in the gut so hard that he can hear the guy's breath coming out, going ugh, ugh, ugh. He made this exactly what he said. Ugh.
Mhm.
I heard the guy's breath coming out. Then he grabbed the second guy, threw him on top of the first guy, punched him a couple of times, and maybe a few punches to a third guy. However, at the trial, there was no second and third guy. It was only the first guy that I pushed on the ground. Right. So,
Wow.
so when they bring in,
Unbelievable. Yes, you're right, Marissa.
when they brought in the illegal alien, the guy that I kicked on the ground, right? And I say I kicked him because I got a friend here. He's a Marine veteran, Mikey Fahey. Every time I tell this story and I tell him that I didn't do anything wrong, he goes, "Well, you did do it. What you did wasn't a crime." I'm like, "Okay, yeah, I did do it." But what I did wasn't a crime. So the guy that I kicked on the ground, they were asking him questions, and he says, "Yeah, he came up and he kicked me to the ground. And at what point did he punch you?" And the illegal alien says, "He didn't punch me."
Wow.
He said, "He didn't punch me." He goes, he pushed my face into the ground, which I didn't even do that, but still, you know. And then the third agent, Agent Ramberto Perez, who was actually was a friend of mine, he kind of got dragged into everything, but he kind of got amnesia at the last minute, but he could have just told the truth. He says, "Well, I didn't see him punch anybody. I didn't see anything that he did, but I was about 80 yards away, but I heard the kick." I was like, "You heard the kick?"
80 yards away.
80, 3/4 of a football field away in the brush.
You heard a kick. Wow.
Right.
That's a loud kick.
So that's 3 different
Yeah.
stories, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So the trial started on a Monday morning, jury selection, and then the actual trial started about 1 p.m. By 10:30 the next morning, they were done with all their witnesses, and we were done with examinations. I was like, "Is that it?" And then they had a sidebar. The prosecutor called a sidebar, and I saw it took about 10 minutes. They came back. My lawyer's telling me, "Hey, they got some exculpatory evidence." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "They're bringing in the drug dealer." I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Oh my God.
So as I'm arguing with my attorney saying no, so I was where I'm at.
Barry, just hearing that, a
I
drug
know.
dealer.
I know.
How does he have the right to testify against anyone? A drug dealer.
It's infuriating.
Oh
It just-
my God.
On a
I'm
case that I wasn't even charged with. I wasn't even charged with his
Right.
stuff. He was the government ridded him out of prison. They ridded him out of prison from Pecos, Texas, brought him in tow. So when the doors open, I was sitting where I'm at. The prosecution is on the other side. The judge and the stand are to my right, and the pews and the benches and the doors are to my left. As I'm arguing with my attorney, I hear the doors open, and in he walks, and he scanned the room, and he saw me. As soon as he saw me, he just we locked eyes, and he started walking down, and he had a U.S. Marshal behind him. Right? Because he was still in custody. He couldn't be alone. He was still in custody. He had a marshal behind him. So as soon as he started walking and looked at me, I jumped out of my chair and I bowed up. And my lawyer's trying to sit me down, like, fuck off me, you know.
Wow.
And he walked all the way back, went up to the stand. They swore him in. He sat down. The marshal sat in. They got a chair for the marshal so he can sit behind him. And the interpreter came in because, again, he's an illegal alien. He don't speak English, right?
Wow.
Doesn't speak English.
This keeps getting
So-
crazy.
I sat down. I
It's
crossed
a
my
crazy movie. It's
Yeah,
like a
you're right.
movie. Yeah.
I sat down. I crossed my arms. I crossed my legs, and I looked at him, and he looked at me. And for the next 4 hours that he was on the stand, me and him were locked into the eyes, and they'd ask him a question. Jury was to his right. He'd turn his head, answer the question, come right back at me.
Wow.
And then when he was,
Payback. He was getting you back.
oh yeah,
How long did you
And,
say he was on the stand for, Gary?
4 hours.
He was on the stand 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
That's
That's
nuts.
crazy.
And according to him, all he was doing, him and some friends, all they did was bring some dope. He goes, we were just bringing some dope across,
No, that's all.
you know.
Yeah.
And that's how he made it sound. And that's how the Court of Appeals made it sound. He says, Mr. Rodriguez Silva had just entered the country with some friends to smuggle some drugs. And that's it. Yeah.
Oh my
So
God.
yeah. So and I'm pretty sure that the U.S. attorney went to him and the inspector general said, "Hey, this guy that broke your nose, you want to get back at him and have a chance to go back to Mexico early? Why wouldn't he?"
Yeah. Sure.
You know.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
Why
of
wouldn't
course.
he? So then when he was done, and he made it sound like I tried to get away, but I twisted my ankle and fell. And then he came up and grabbed me and he put on his gloves. He held me down, put on his gloves, and then started to punch me in the face. And my contradiction to that, which I also proved in court, I had 3 supervisors that testified, because I always, even when I don't like touching stuff, you know, I always had my gloves on, even when I was in the processing room, even when I was in short sleeves and walking around the station. They always told me, "Dude, take your gloves off." I'm like, "No, I'm not touching anything around here."
Right.
So that my rebuttal with that was my supervisor that, yeah, he's always got his gloves on. If he was chasing somebody, he had his gloves on. He don't ever have his gloves in his pocket. We actually almost wrote him up for having his gloves on in the station. So yeah. Anyway, so that's how that went. And then they had me on the stand, and I finally got to testify, tell my story, and the U.S. attorney was the assistant U.S. attorney, Bill Bauman. He was trying to mock me up on the stand, and he says, so Mr. Brugman, he says, "Read this right here. What's it say?" He pulled up the use of force. He goes, "Read the underlined part." So I started reading the whole thing. He goes, no, just read the underlined part. I was like, "You can't tell me to pick and choose what's going to be what you want me to read. You're sitting in an office saying, okay, I'm going to use this. I'm out in the field." I said, "This is just a guideline for us to use to make decisions." Right. And he snatched it out of my hand. And he says, this is the 3rd time I've heard you guys refer to the use of force policy as just a guideline. Is that what you think of the Constitution? It's just a piece of paper? So I said, "Can I see that, sir?" And he said, "No, you already saw it." And I judge, and I said, "Your Honor, can I read something from there?" And the judge told him to give it to me, because I used to teach the use of force. I know the damn thing like the back of my hand. Right. So I took it, went right to the back, and in the back it says summary. It says, "This use of force policy is to be used as a guideline for agents to make decisions in the field." Wow. Veins popped out of his forehead. He snatched it out of my hand. And then he says, and then he says, "Well," he goes, "Well, why did you have to give him this big?" He goes, this was a big point. He says, "So you ran up to this group and you were angry, you were pissed off, and you were yelling, 'So you like to run, huh?' And you wound your leg up to Cincinnati," and he spreads his legs, and proceeded to kick the bejesus out of him with these devastating Gary Brugman kicks. And I'm looking and I said, "Oh my God. I don't know what comic book you've been reading, sir." I said, "But that didn't happen like that." Yeah. I said, I ran up to him, and if you watch anytime you watch cops, whenever they get somebody on the ground, what's the first thing they say? "Why are you running? Why are you running?" Yeah. You know? Yeah. I didn't say, "So you like to run, huh?" But that changed the whole perspective for them, you know? Yeah. So I said, I ran up and I pushed them to the ground, and I asked them why they were running. He goes, "What do you care why they're running? You concerned about their health? You're going to take them for exercise?" And he goes, "You're going to take them for a little jog?" You know? And I said, "No, because a lot of times
he was performing. He was performing. That's what he was doing. Oh. Some of the best actors are attorneys. I was an acting coach many years. I worked with one, and his performance was always his closing argument, and and I would give him notes. But he's acting. But you have someone here, a friend, I imagine, says, "Gary, you need to write a book, brother." I totally agree. Right?
Yeah,
Barry?
I was going to say that too.
I've been writing one since 2006, and
oh good.
But every time I start writing, I start getting upset, and I don't do it. So I've only got like 40 pages written of a huge book, but I'll get it done.
Trust to work with you on that. Yeah. Collaborate with you. Yeah, you tell the story, let them put it down.
Trust no one.
Trust no one. Oh.
Yeah.
So,
well, you trust God. You trust God.
I do, which is why I'm going to get it done one day.
Yes. Yes.
Not to jump ahead, Gary, but I didn't realize that it was a jury trial with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. So.
And the thing is, I was such a young little buck back. Go ahead, man.
I'm sorry. Tell Gary it's Julio from Brooklyn. We grew up together. That's who said
nice.
you got to write your book, brother.
He's one of my classmates I told you about earlier. That's in Jersey.
Oh,
nice.
Great.
Yes. I haven't seen him since 1980. I can't wait.
Nice of him to tune in.
Yes.
Well, you have a lot of people to visit in New Jersey. Barry Morgenstein, your friend from Brooklyn, Julio.
Yep. My other friend Charlene. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see them too. I love them so much. They're the oldest friends that I have since I was a kid.
Nice.
So they know each other since second grade, and I've known them since fourth.
Nice.
That's great.
But
we got to get you out of here.
So how did you this obviously, you know, we're so engaged in your story and what you've been through, and I'm so sorry you went through that, and it just burns my ass because, you know, it's like if someone breaks into my home and I protect myself, I'm going to be thrown in jail for it. You know,
that happens. It's known to happen.
I know, and it's just not right. That's not the way it goes. Look, I'm the last person that if I believe in an eye for an eye. That's how much I believe. Like, you know, I'm sick and tired of the crime, the violence, and people having, you know, long ass rap sheets 30, 40, 50 times, and judges letting them go. I mean, and this is not current day. This is back when you experienced this. But
you know, I still say we need to bring the he needed killing law back. You know, it's like, hey, why'd you kill him? Well, Your Honor, he needed killing. Oh, well, you just said so. Case dismissed. You know what I mean? But
Gary, I have a question. Oh, sorry, Gary, I have a question though. So I'm curious how the reaction when you were convicted, like your fellow border patrol. I mean, how do they do their job? Like, aren't they thinking to themselves, well, I'm not going to tackle this guy. I'm not going to arrest this guy. I'm not going to use any kind of force because this will happen to us too. Like, how can anybody do their job after that?
Such a good question, Barry, because then, you know, and then the criminals just take over because everybody's afraid to do their job.
Right.
I mean,
it took a huge toll on the nation because I'm actually the founder of a motorcycle club called the Iron Pigs. It's a law enforcement motorcycle club. Cops across the nation. We're over 2,500 strong. And when this happened to me, it opened the eyes of a lot of cops across the whole country because they were watching. And for one, they knew me. And now it's like, whoa. And I had all these veteran cops saying, yeah, dude, I hear calls come out down south. I head north. You know, I said, I go to work. I hang out under a tree unless it's officer needs assistance or, you know, a big emergency.
Right.
They ain't going to put their careers in jeopardy because, you know, one thing about law enforcement, man, it's they'll take a bullet for you. They'll be there. They'll take a bullet for you. But God forbid, don't mess with their careers. You know.
Well, it has a ripple effect on their children, their wives, their husbands, whoever, the whole family. I mean, you know, everything that you've built, everything that you've worked for.
Yeah. So I eventually ended up getting so at that trial, I told the U.S. attorney. And he's like, well, why'd you have to push him to the ground? Why couldn't you just? And he kind of made it like gesture to put my hands on his shoulder and ask him to sit down. And I said, I'm not going to put my hands on anybody. He goes, well, why not? I said, because there's always a gun. He goes, I don't see anything here about him having a gun. I said, I had a gun. And he goes, did you have it out? I said, no. He goes, was it properly holstered? I said, yes. Then what are you worried about? So I asked the judge, if I can go down and demonstrate something. He said yes. So I stood in front of the jury and I squatted down how the guy was. I said, Mr. Bauman, come put your hands on me like you said. And he's like, why? I said, come put your hands on me like you said. And he goes, I'm not going to do that. And why not? He goes, because I don't know what you're going to do. I said, exactly. I said, and you're here in front of a judge, a jury, and a court officer. I said, but you want me to do it in the middle of the freaking brush in the middle of the night. And again, veins popped out of his forehead and, you know, whatnot. Yeah. And let me tell you, Barry, had he put his hands on me, I was going to body slam him so hard. I was going to drop him so hard to teach him a damn lesson. This is why I didn't do it.
Yeah.
And, funny because I was telling my attorney, because several times he squatted down and he had like the illegal alien and come up and demonstrate how I kicked him, and he would do the dramatic boom and fall to the ground, you know.
Oh my God.
And I told my attorney, I said, if he asks me to demonstrate, I'm going to put him between the doors.
Oh my God.
And then my attorney's like, no, don't do that. I said, it's happening, but he didn't ask me. Luckily, good thing for him.
I want to hear
But
about
anyway,
this brain dead jury that actually found you guilty after all this. I mean, what's
They-
the guy's name? I mean, it's scary who could be on a jury.
They brought in a civil rights trial lawyer from Washington,
Wow.
D.C.
Oh,
And
that's it.
this guy's
That'll
name
do
was Brent Allen Gray. And this guy was so good that during closing arguments, at one point, he had me convinced I was guilty. I
That's
swear.
Told you, best
Wow.
actors.
Oh
Yeah.
my
So-
God, that's unbelievable.
Yep.
So you get 40 minutes for closing, right?
Right.
So, but before that, let me tell you this: during one of the breaks, during the trial, I went into the bathroom to use a restroom, and he was in there. So I went in, stall next to him, and this was October of 2002 in Austin, Texas. It was Halloween going on, and he goes, Halloween in Austin, Texas. He goes, you going out drinking tonight? I said, no. I said, you? And he's like, nah, I got a trial to win. And I was like, you really think I did all this stuff? He goes, doesn't matter what I think. I got a $50 million budget to make sure you go to prison. You're going to prison.
What the? Come on.
Wow.
He actually said that. Whoa.
And he goes, and you're
I
going
wish
to prison.
You had that recorded.
Well, I wish you would. Now you really got to finish that book because you got to name that. I don't know what if he's still around, this guy, but that's disgusting.
He's actually the U.S. attorney of some district in North Carolina now. I believe it's North Carolina.
Wow.
Arrogant.
So Brent Allen Gray.
Garbage.
Evil, arrogant.
Exactly. Perfect.
Evil. You're
Absolutely.
right, Rob Langston.
Argument.
The sad part, criminals have more rights than the victims.
Very true.
Yeah.
And especially if they're illegal, that adds to their rights.
I'm embarrassed to say I dated a criminal attorney for a few years, and I saw him in action, and I saw things in the New York City courtroom, people that were guilty, and his license plate was out quick. That was his license plate.
Wow.
And any criminal in the 5 boroughs knew him, and he did get them out quick, and they were guilty as all hell.
Yeah.
Guilty. Yeah.
No. That's wow.
So you get 40 minutes for closing arguments, and the U.S. attorney took 20 minutes. Then my attorney went up, and then the other guy took close out at the end with. I said, why'd he get to go up twice? Why couldn't we? Anyway, so when the civil rights trial lawyer Brent Allen Gray went up, everybody did their closings from the podium. He took the podium and put it in front of the jury, and it was kind of like preaching to the jury. I was like, this motherfucker. And I said when it came down to it, it took him about 4 hours to deliberate, a jury in Austin, Texas. See, and at the time, I didn't know that Austin, Texas. I had just only been in Texas about 4 years at the time. I didn't know Austin, Texas was like the little liberal San Francisco of Texas. I would never have agreed to that.
Yeah.
Because the trial was supposed to be in San Antonio, which 20 years ago was very conservative. 25 years ago was very conservative.
Yeah. I didn't realize. So the trial was in Austin, you said?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that either. Wow. There you go.
Wow.
If you get a chance,
look up Judge
William Wayne Justice. That was my judge. William Wayne, he was appointed by LBJ.
Wow.
And they talk about the butterfly effect, man. It's crazy. And the judge fell asleep several times while I was testifying.
What?
He was 84 years old. He out cold several times.
I forget, on top of the book, we might have to do a movie too.
A movie, that's what
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
This is
God.
Hey, I got a hookup. I'm going to get Max Martini to play me.
Actually, that's perfect.
I actually said that to him. He started laughing. He goes, I'm in.
I just want to read what Kim Furr said.
Mm-hmm.
You were used as an example. They were going to get you on something no matter what. Always wish the best for Gary.
Yeah.
You have been through more than most, but you are stronger than most too. You have proven that, and you have God with you.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Kim's great.
Man.
That's so nice.
She's a very important
Thank you,
person to me.
Yeah, that's really nice. That's nice.
Who was
She's a very
there?
But why do you think why do they pick somebody and target them? Like, what is the reason behind that? I mean, again, you're doing your job. You're a good guy.
I don't know the answer to that, but 25 years later, armchair quarterback and everything, and research and whatnot, it was just strictly political. At the time, Vicente Fox was the president of Mexico, and there was a lot of abuse going on with illegal aliens that were crossing the border, but a lot of it was with sheriffs and police departments, But this came up, and so technically, the way it happens is when an illegal alien wants to file a complaint of misconduct, he'll tell a supervisor. Supervisor will get the Mexican consulate. They'll sit there together, listen to the story, and come to a conclusion. Okay, we're going to write him up. We're going to give him some days off, or we're going to move forward with this criminally. So, in my case, that didn't happen. In my case, the illegal alien happened to see the Mexican consulate as he was leaving the building, and he talked to him as he was leaving the building. Mexican consulate left and went straight to the U.S. attorney. U.S. attorney went to the Department of the Inspector General, and the Inspector General came down on me. So they bypassed the whole Border Patrol. That's why Border Patrol had nothing to do with it.
Wow.
So after 4 hours of deliberation, it was time for the verdict, and I didn't really think I was going to be found guilty because I was in Texas. How can that happen, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
You weren't guilty. And you weren't guilty.
Right, and I wasn't guilty, of course.
Yeah.
And they had 3 different stories. I mean, anybody can see right through it. So they came down, and it was, and when they said guilty, even the court reporter said,
really?
Just like that. And when the judge read it, he was like, And when they told me that I was guilty, I just felt like somebody dumped a bucket of warm water on me. I felt like I had pissed my pants, but my whole body.
Yeah. I can't imagine.
And I spiraled down there. I spiraled downhill from that for a while. I stayed out on bond for about 1.5 years, pending an appeal.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I stayed out on bond for 1.5 years, pending an appeal, trying to make money. Because now, what was I going to do? The past 16 years, I worked for the government. I did law enforcement. Now I couldn't even carry a gun. I couldn't be a security guard at Walmart.
Right.
So, trying to get my life together, I started going to school using my GI Bill. I said, well, might as well try to get a degree. I got the time now, and I was driving tow trucks and doing whatever I needed to do. And
did you have family supporting you, like emotionally supportive?
No, just mom. I don't have family to this day. I don't have any family. I got a couple of cousins in Florida and in Puerto Rico, but we're as close as can be. But we don't see each other, help each other, anything like that. We call each other on holidays and stuff. That's about it. But I got a lot of family I don't talk to as well. It's just me and my son. My son was a little kid at the time. My son's going to be 33 here in September, in August, and he lives up in Austin now too. I'm like, really, Austin? Really, kid? but no. So just trying to make life continue, and then in April of 2006, I got a word that I had lost the appeal. The judges ruled against me because of something that I testified to. Because remember I told you, I said when I knocked him on his ass, I knocked him on his ass. Well, the judges in the 5th Circuit Court of Appeals determined that I didn't use excessive force because I did exactly what they taught me in the Border Patrol Academy, because they researched that. And obviously, right, it's over and over. So I didn't use excessive force. However, because I said that I knocked him on his ass using 100% of my force, which I did, which is what we were taught.
Right.
They said my intent was malicious.
Oh my God.
So they upheld the decision based on my intent. I said, how the hell you know what my intention was? You weren't even there 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Anyway, so about 2 weeks after that, the marshals came and kicked in my door, pushed my mom to the ground, and took me.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I lost the appeal.
I was just ready to ask you, do you go and turn yourself in? How does this work?
Why did they have to kick in your door?
I had surrendered twice already. I was waiting for that phone call. Every time my phone rang, I thought it was my attorney saying, yeah, you got to go. So I was waiting for the phone call to go self-surrender. Nope, they came and got me. They got the U.S. attorney signed a warrant for them to come, an arrest warrant for them to come get me, and they literally kicked in my door at 5:30 in the morning.
Oh my
and
God.
That piece of garbage should be in jail.
Yeah.
Yeah, Johnny Sutton. So, we had a lot of stuff going here in Texas. Are you familiar with the Ken Paxton case in Texas?
Yeah.
You know, where they tried to impeach him because of all this stuff, and there was whistleblowers. So during the Ken Paxton trial, they had asked one of the whistleblowers who his attorney, you know, how much his attorney was charging. I don't know how much. I don't know. The attorney for all the whistleblowers that hasn't gotten paid and started this whole thing was Johnny Sutton, the guy that prosecuted me.
Oh.
So
Wow.
when they heard that, because they asked him, who's Johnny Sutton? Did you know that he prosecuted Gary Brugman and some other Border Patrol agents? And all of a sudden my phone started blowing up. They're like, hey, was this? I said, yeah, that's him. So back in 2023, when this was happening, I did a couple of TV interviews. And I said, you know, I don't know Ken Paxton. I think he was pretty good, attorney general for the state of Texas. I said, and I heard all this stuff. But now that I know Johnny Sutton's involved, I said, I have no doubt that the man is innocent and this is all made up. Johnny Sutton will manipulate. He'll manipulate the truth. He'll manipulate the law. He'll manipulate the jury in order to get what he wants, the outcome that he wants, because he's a Bush family floozy.
Wow.
You know?
Wow.
Oh. But yeah, so then they took me off to prison, and for the next 2 years, I had it was the worst hangover I had, because when they picked me up, I had just gotten home.
Wow.
So you're in prison now. You have a target on your back in prison. Am I right?
Absolutely.
How the
And you know,
hell
there's one
do you
thing.
survive every day, you know, like
So it's one thing to
show.
Wow.
Yeah.
Never saw that before.
Yeah, that was at the penitentiary in Atlanta. Yeah.
Wow.
That was Coleman, Florida, when I first moved in. So at Coleman, Florida, there's a lot of Cubans there. So I had to look Hispanic and look Cuban. So that's my Cubano look.
Oh my God.
The other one, the penitentiary in Atlanta, there was a lot of peckerwoods there. So I hung out amongst the peckerwoods. So I had to look like a.
I like the way you blended in with everybody.
Yep, there we go.
Wow.
So in federal prison on Saturdays between 9 a.m. and noon, you can pay I think it was back then was like $2.50, and they have a photographer who'll take pictures, and you pick them up the next week and you can send them to your family. So that's what these are.
Okay.
Wow.
You know?
So 2 years, was that your sentence? Did you get out early, or how did that?
27 months was my sentence. I did 24 and a half of those 27 months.
Okay.
Wow.
So at first they took me to San Antonio to a contract prison here, civilian prison. Then they put me on Con Air. I ended up going to Oklahoma City to the transfer center, and on Con Air, literally shackled at the waist, feet shackled, and they lock up to the floor. And when the plane lands in Oklahoma City and it taxis and it gets to the terminal and the jetway comes out and you walk out onto the jetway, you're in prison. The prison is on the airport, and when you walk into the jetway, you're in prison.
Wow.
So I was there for a couple of months until they found out where to put me. Then they sent me to that Coleman, Florida, and that's a low. And I ended up getting jumped there by the Mexican population, because in federal prison, I'd say about 70% of the inmates there are illegal aliens. It's the Border Patrol picks them up. Border Patrol is the highest registered agency that there is in the nation. My station alone, and this was back in 2001. My station in Eagle Pass, Texas, my station alone arrested 75,000 people. We were only 80 agents back then.
Wow.
You know, so now in Eagle Pass, they have 2 stations with more than 300 agents each. So there's over 600 agents. When I was there, I was agent number 84.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So now you're in this population of criminals. I mean, they know who you are. They have to, right?
They knew before I got there.
They knew before you got there.
There's a whole network of people that know.
So again, Barry, and you'll agree, God wanted Gary to survive again.
Right.
Because to survive that's
2 years.
Incredible.
2 years.
2 years.
When you're a target like that.
I'd always make sure. So at the low, it's kind of like a squad bay. It's kind of like office cubicles where if you sleep on top, you see everybody else sleeping on top, right? And there's no walls and no doors. So if they want you, they'll just come over the wall, come into your room, because there's no doors. It's like office cubicles. And when they found out who I was, I got surrounded by the Mexican population. They wanted me to check into solitary. They said, "We don't want you on the compound. We want you to check into solitary." And I was like, "Nope, not happening." And they're like, "You're not out there. You're not out there anymore, man. Now you're locked up in here with us." And I said, "Dude, I wasn't afraid of 40 of you out in the street, out in the brush. I'm not afraid of 40 of you in here. You're locked up in here with me." Wow. And then I kind of got that from the Watchmen, and and they said, and they told me, I needed to watch my back. So then I went to my cubicle and I sat down. And at the time, my the guy in the cubicle next to me was what's his name? The shoe guy, Steve Madden.
Oh,
Steve Madden.
He was in jail? I never knew Steve Madden.
Steve Madden?
What did he do?
Wolf of Wall Street stuff, the securities thing.
Oh, wow.
Oh, you mean Madoff? Madoff.
No, Steve Madden, the shoe guy.
Steve Madden.
Yeah, I didn't realize. I never knew he was in prison for anything.
Watch Wolf of Wall Street. He's on his character's on the Wolf of Wall Street.
Okay,
so he was next to me, and he's like, "Dude, what's wrong?" And I'm sitting there like this. I'm like, "I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die." So eventually, they told me that ironically, a Mexican says, "Hey, you need to watch it tomorrow. They're gonna come get you in the morning when they open the doors from another unit." So I'm like, "Great, what do I do?" So I was waiting for him with a lock in the sock. And I had 5 guys come in, and they came into my cube. I split 2 of their melons, and then that's when they sent me to the penitentiary. I didn't catch any extra time. So, as they say in prison, I didn't catch a case because I wasn't the aggressive one. I was a victim. Right. I was the aggressor. I was the victim. They jumped me. However, I did split their melons because I had a weapon. So they upped my security level. So now I'm no longer at the low. They sent me to a high security penitentiary in Atlanta, which we called Castle Grayskull because that's what it looks like. And while I was in there, I was in solitary most of the time, except for the last last 2 weeks I was out, which is when I took those pictures. But when they put me in there in solitary, I was in a cell built for 2, and there were 7 people in there. So there was a guy on the top bunk, guy on the bottom bunk, guy underneath the bottom bunk. There was a twin mattress on the floor with 2 guys spooning. There was 1 guy wrapped around the toilet bowl, and I was underneath the sink with my feet on the toilet bowl, using the roll of toilet paper as a pillow.
Oh my God!
Wow.
And that I was like that for about 3.5 months, and then they finally put me in the population for 2 weeks, and then they took me they lowered my thing, and I went to Yazoo City, Mississippi, which is where I finished out at. Yeah. So, yeah, it's crazy. How much time do we have left? Uh-oh.
Did Lisa freeze?
She did.
She's frozen. I guess she's out of time.
I know, right? Podcast over.
She ran out of time. Wow. Oh.
You know what? That gives you time to make another drink.
Yeah, there you go. Here, I'll drink to that.
Hold on. I ain't ready yet, Barry.
Well, so we have, cheers. You're a brave man. Can't imagine going through what you did. Takes a strong man to do that.
Hey, Julio.
Most people won't survive.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you, Barry, and it's just, and like I said, you don't know how many times I wish I can just quit. Because I've been done for a long while. We're gonna have to end this and come back.
I don't know. Lisa's probably trying to come back.
Yeah, but she's
we're near our end anyway. But we're still on. So just tell us, like, after you were out, how long did you get the pardon?
Oh man, so I got out in March of 2006, and March of 2006, and we went to all the way up to December of 2020. I was a felon for almost 18 years. Wow. December of 2020. Wow. Until President Trump gave me that pardon. And, during the last 20 years, I made a lot of noise, man. I even started my podcast just to get the president's attention because I didn't even try to get a pardon until 2018 because Bush put me in. Obama wasn't going to give me pardon. So once Trump came in, I let him settle down, and I got a buddy here, Joe Pags, the radio talk show guy.
Yeah, sure.
Joe Pags told Lieutenant Colonel Jeffrey Adicott about my story, and Lieutenant Colonel Jeffrey Adicott is a professor at St. Mary's University. He's a professor of law. He was a JAG attorney for 23 years, and he ran a thing.
Hey, I got Lisa on the phone. Yeah, can you hear me?
Gary.
Yeah, you're on the air with us.
Gary?
Yeah, can you hear me? Oh, I lost her. Sorry, guys. Until she calls back. I guess she's trying to get on. Finish her story. She'll try. So that's weird.
So he filed my pardon, and then
I never knew that either. That's interesting that it was him.
Yeah,
that filed.
He right now he ran a thing called the Center for Terrorism Law, right? And he has since changed it. It's now called the Warrior Defense Project,
right?
So he helps people. He picks his cases case by case with soldiers with rules of engagement, and a lot of military government things with veterans. And he took my case pro bono because he felt I was wrong. He's like, I'm absolutely taking your case.
Yeah,
and he filed it. And then and I made a lot of noise. I had a podcast. I know a lot of people, and it got to the president's desk.
Mm-hmm.
And he signed it. And man, let me tell you, when I got my pardon, the very next, I didn't know I knew so many people. My phone, I got over 3,000 phone calls.
Right.
I got so many text messages. I got calls from people. I got calls from Border Patrol agents I work with, Border Patrol agents that were trained by guys I work with. And I had some Border Patrol agents that called me and said, "Hey, your story is the reason I joined the Border Patrol."
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah,
yeah. You would think the opposite, but that's good for them, right?
Yeah, no, like you were my inspiration. Yeah, I had about a dozen of those.
Right. I remember when it happened. Yeah, that was amazing moment.
It was. Oh,
I think Lisa, we got you back.
I'm back.
Welcome back. We missed you.
I'm sorry. We left the house and came to the shore because there was no internet here, and now there's a storm here in Wildwood. I mean, I'm on the. I was starting to say I'm on the edge of my seat with all this, right?
Yeah.
You're writing a book, and that's going to be adapted to a screenplay, and it's going to be incredible because the heart of this is resilience. How the hell do you survive all this? And
most people couldn't. I'm guessing.
No, most people could not.
I don't think I could have.
No, I definitely no way. No. And God had a very big plan, and God continues to have a big plan for you.
Don't get me wrong. It wasn't always like this. When I first got out of the prison, everybody's like, "How can you not be bitter?" Oh, I'm bitter. I'm bitter. It's been so long. It takes a lot of energy to be angry and bitter. So I'm just not anymore.
Right.
You can't heal. You can't heal when you're angry. You can't heal when you're still mad. And forgiveness, the hardest thing to do. And in no way am I trying to compare what I went through to what you went through, but I just know for myself that when I finally said, I forgive that person who assaulted me, I forgive that person who tried to destroy me. And that enabled me to go on with my life, to heal, and to find love. And I would have never met my husband if I wasn't able to do that. Or I'd never be able to have a relationship with my family, I believe, if I was that angry.
You know what I learned? I've listened to a lot of people's stories. I've told my story, listened to a lot of people's stories. And sometimes I'm like, man, my stuff don't even compare to yours. And they're like, hey, I had one guy tell me, don't you ever say that, because each one of us goes through our own hell.
Your own battle.
And situationally it may be different, but to ourselves, it's our own hell that we've gone through. It's our own trial and our own journey that we survived.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think, do you find like there are certain things I want to go back since I got disconnected. Did you talk about when you got the call and you were pardoned by President?
Yeah, I couldn't believe the time, but we'll tell Lisa the time between you were released when you got the pardon.
Yeah, so I got convicted in October of 2022. 2002, October 2002. Got taken away to prison in March of 04 and released in March of 06. So all of 05 I was in prison. And then I was a felon all the way until 2020. I couldn't even look at a bullet or touch a gun or be a security guard at Walmart.
18 years, right?
18, yeah. Well, 18 years since the conviction. Yes.
Right. That you were a felon. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
And during that time, I made a lot of noise because I had a podcast, and I wouldn't shut up about it because every chance I got to talk Johnny Sutton on TV, I would. You know.
Yeah, good.
And I got to know a lot of people. Sarah Carter is one of my best friends, and I was telling Barry,
great.
My friend here. I don't know if you know who Joe Pags is. He's a radio talk show host. Joe Pags is a really good friend of mine, and he told my story to Lieutenant Colonel Jeffrey Adicott, who's a professor at law at St. Mary's University, and he took my case pro bono, filed my pardon. And when I tell you that I had support and I had people and everything, I had a friend of mine in New York, my friend's sister that I grew up with, and she works merchandise at like all football games, you know, the ones with the carts with all the flags and everything on it. Yeah. She does all the Trump rallies. She would print out 5 or 10 copies of my pardon, and she managed to give it to Pam Bondi. She gave it to Chuck Corey Lewandowski. She gave it to Eric Trunk. And anybody who would take it, she'd give it to.
That's
and then I had my Border Patrol agents. Whenever Trump went to the border to check the border wall, they give it to his Secret Service agents. I had a friend of mine that I was in the Coast Guard with, who at the time, he retired now, but at the time was a commander in California. And when Don Jr. wrote his book, he was doing a book signing. He went and bought a book, got it signed, and he goes, "Hey, can you give this to your dad?" So
you have a nice army behind you. I love it.
Yeah. So eventually, it made his way to Donald Trump's desk, and I got the pardon. And I had a guy when I first got out of the prison. I got to talk about this guy because his name is Ed Hendy. Ed and Nina Hendy. They own the Taste of Texas restaurant in Houston. And when I first got out of the prison in 2006, I was trying to register for school. And I wouldn't have made it this far if it wasn't for this man and his family and his wife. I really wouldn't have. So I'm trying to register for college because I'm like, well, I started school before I went to prison. Let me try to figure this out because at least they'll pay me, $800 a month to go to school. I get a phone call, and I still remember I had a Motorola Razr, and it's a Houston number, 713 number. I don't know nobody in Houston. Hello? And a squeaky little voice in there. Hey, is this Gary Brugman? I said, yeah, who's this? He goes, my name is Ed Hendy. I'm a restaurateur in Houston. I'm a radio talk show host, and I'm an aide to some congressman. Somebody told me your story recently, and I wonder if you have time to tell it to me yourself. I'm like, how'd you get my number? He goes, not important right now. 20 years later, still hasn't told me how he got my number. But I told him my story, and he stayed quiet, and I thought I lost him. I said, you still there? And he says, Gary, he goes, on behalf of the people of the United States, I want to apologize for you because this shouldn't have happened. You got railroaded, whatever. He goes, and I'm so sorry this happened to you. He goes, and God has put me in a unique position. If you give me the opportunity, I will help you change your life. I was like, you're gonna help me change my life? And he's like, absolutely. I was like, yeah, sure, why not? To this day, the man has not left my side.
That's amazing.
To this day, the man has not left my side. He
never heard that story.
Day, 3 times a day. He's actually become a bit of a nuisance if he's watching this.
He's your angel. I love it.
That's so great.
Yeah.
He is.
Awesome.
And he's got a lot of time, a lot of energy, and a lot of money invested in me in the past 20 years. And
still have his barbecue place?
It's a steakhouse, not a barbecue.
Oh, steakhouse.
Place.
Okay.
That's 2 strikes against you. The first one was shit talking Ace Frehley.
Hey, I put him in the book, so.
Hey, Miss Lisa. So Barry sent me a link to a podcast that he did with Megyn Kelly, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, oh, this is great. And she asked me, was there anybody who never didn't like anything that you did or something like that? And he's like, oh yeah, this one guy, Ace Frehley. I was like,
hey, he loves Ace Frehley. Gary's a big Ace Frehley fan, so I was like, I got text right away while I'm on the podcast with Megan. Gary's yelling at me.
How do you think you are?
How dare you? That's great.
That was classic.
So Heroic Episodes is a TV series in development, and I've interviewed veterans, their families, heroes. I consider them, and Barry agrees, and been adapting it to a series, and it's a big vision. But my question is, if we had an episode or episodes of your story, what is the one thing that like the scene, the moment in all this that you would want out there and you would want it to be told exactly the way it happened?
Ooh.
Good question.
Ooh. Yeah, that's a big question. There's a lot to that.
That's a good one.
There's probably many moments, right?
Yeah, there's many moments, but if I can pick one scene, it's not really a scene. It's not even related to my story. So let me tell you this, because this might put it into a bit of a perspective. When I got out of prison, I was angry. I was bitter. I hated freaking everybody. I would go to the hockey games here in San Antonio, or a sports game, and when it was time for the national anthem and the Star Spangled Banner,
right?
Not me. Hell no.
Yeah.
And then this guy Ed Hendy, and along with Glenn Beck, Roger Hedgecock in California, they got together and raised some money and started me a business. People donated money. I had a tool truck for a couple, like a Matco tool truck. And so he helped me start a business, and these people were donating money, and there were letters. And so sorry, I still have a whole bunch of them. So sorry for what this happened. So sorry for this. You didn't deserve this. Here's this. I got this one letter from a young little girl. She was 7 years old. Her name was Nicole Van Meer. And she says, and she wrote me a letter, and I still have it. I should have sent it to you. And she says, she goes, "Dear Gary Brugman," he goes, I usually have a lemonade stand at my dad's poker games and give my money to veterans. He goes, but my dad told me to watch your story, and I want to give you the money that I made. And it was $7.62.
Oh my God, that's so sweet.
And she says, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I forgot the exact. I don't know what happened to you for this to have gone down, but I hope you live a happy life like I have.
Wow. That's
And
beautiful.
That's when I realized that it wasn't the people of the United States. It wasn't we the people. It was the government.
Right.
And I don't even hate government now. I love government. We need government. We'd be in total chaos without government. It's who's in charge of government.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
It's who's in charge of government. And the thing is, I guess what to answer your question is just never quit. Never quit, because I've wanted to quit so many times. I wish quit was in my vocabulary so I could just end it all. And but no, never quit, because life is good. Life is good. It's not easy. It sure as fuck isn't fair, but life is good. You know,
Yes,
life is
it
full of good things. And in our country, if you live here, you live in one of the greatest places. Your local government may suck. Your local state may suck, Jersey, and it's just.
Yeah, it's true.
Great attitude.
But where are you going to go? Where are you going to go and have the freedoms we have? Where are you going to go and have all that we have? Yeah.
One of the greatest things I've seen is all these foreigners coming to the United States lately and loving the United States.
Right. That's so great. Isn't that great?
It is.
That's the best. Yeah.
Yeah. It kind of does make you step back and go, yeah, they're right. It is pretty awesome here.
Right.
You know, they are right.
I've been to Europe. I've been to Italy. I've been all over the place. It's cool to visit. I don't want to live there.
No.
You know.
Right.
Exactly.
You know, and that's the way I feel when I land at freaking LaGuardia. I'm like, man, I want to go back to Texas. You know?
So what happens now? What are you working on now? What is your focus now? What makes you happy? What are you doing?
Right. I'm actually pretty happy right now. I don't Miss Lisa, I work, I make some money. I mean, other than financially, my life is good. I mean, I'm not doing bad financially, but I kind of do security, so it's up and down, it's feast or famine. So I do what I can to make some money. But I'm gonna be 60 years old in a couple of months, and the way I see it, I got about 5 good years left to give it my all, and I'm just trying to retire and enjoy life. After I almost died of COVID, I realized I still have all the same problems, but I don't sweat the small stuff anymore. I don't, I don't worry about all the. It's not worth my time. So I just try to be happy. I'm always in a good mood. My problem is, like I said, I live alone. Don't have a wife, girlfriend, none of that stuff. I don't have a purpose. Everybody always says, "Hey, what's your why? What's your why?" And I don't have a why. My why is me. you know.
Mhm.
So I just kind of feel like I'm on a repetitive cycle. But you know what? I know God has a purpose for me. I just don't know what it is yet. So he'll let me know what it is when he's ready. I love God. I love Jesus Christ, and I wouldn't have made it this far without him. Like I said, I turned everything against him. Onto him. I'm like, hey, handle this. I don't have time for it. I've actually kind of gotten used to that, and I think he has too. So because my life is pretty good.
Well, we're
Oh,
just so grateful that you spent time with us, and
Yes.
I, I'm going to be thinking about you, your story, your journey, all the obstacles, everything that you endured, everything that you overcame. I'm going to be thinking about you for the next days and nights. I know that. And I just want to say, God has a plan. You're right. Who knows what it is? I never expected to be the poster child for domestic violence. I never expected that path in my life. And Barry has known me for decades,
Hmm.
but I know my purpose is raising awareness and
amen.
bringing these beautiful stories to other people, and inspiring stories that show that the human spirit is resilient. Your spirit is resilient. You are resilient.
Yep.
And
And
it's just
inspiring
amazing.
too.
Thank you,
Very
sir.
Inspiring.
inspiring. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
You're not alone, Gary. I'm looking for the why as well. Yes, a lot of us are looking for the why,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, and every day you wake up, you just, say, "Thank you. I get
I
another
do
shot
that
at
every
this."
morning.
Yeah.
My first words are "Thank you, Lord, for another day."
Yep.
Yeah.
That was my first
Amen.
word, and then I apologize, and I apologize for whatever I'm going to piss you off with today, because I know I will.
Yeah.
You know, I,
Yeah,
I
we
say
are
a lot of things
definitely
that I do. I do a lot of things, and my fallback is, hey, I'm a Christian, not a saint. So
we are flawed. We're all flawed,
yes,
right? Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. But
So,
this has been wonderful, and
Yeah. I'm so
Barry,
glad
thank
you
you
joined
so
us, Gary.
much.
This is so great. Good way
dude,
to
thank
hang
you
out
for
with you
having
too.
me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. I only invited you because I wanted to hang out with you. So this is my only way.
Yeah, we haven't done that in 5 years. Hey, and I tell you what, next week's podcast with Bad Rob ain't gonna be nowhere near as cool as this. No, you're gonna be like, okay,
Well,
this will be the first 15-minute podcast we've had.
Gary, you are the why. Stay strong. I love you, Marissa.
I
Yeah,
love her too.
you.
That's my girl right there.
That's awesome. Thank you, Bad Rob. Thank you, everyone, for watching
Yeah.
tonight. Kim
Thanks,
Fur
everybody.
and
Thank you.
everyone, the Pink Angel, Esther,
Yeah.
Shelly Morgenstein, and
Holly
just
says hello
everyone.
too. I know Holly said hello.
Holly,
Yeah. Law
Holly.
enforcement. Great law
Hello, Holly.
enforcement lady from works with Blue Magazine. She was with us also.
Yes.
So yeah. She's an
Nice.
Oh,
amazing
she's
lady.
awesome. I
We
love
love
Holly.
her.
Gonna
Yeah.
meet her one day.
Yeah. One of these
Well,
days.
we hope you come visit Gary. I'd love to meet you in person. Barry, thank you again. You know the most
Yeah.
awesome people that inspire us, and thank you for the
I am
introduction.
blessed to have friends like Gary. So yeah.
Yes,
For
you
sure.
are.
Same
You
here, brother.
are. And now I'm blessed. Thank you so much for
Yes.
joining us. Don't hang up, hang on. I know we had some internet issues, but I'm just going to sign off. But I want you guys, Barry and Gary. I think you should have a show, Barry
Yeah,
and
we should have our
Gary.
own show, right?
I know, right? The
Just
B and
stay
G
on.
show.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
So
there you go. Thank you, everyone, for joining us live at Heroic Episodes. Next week, we will have Rob Langston, 24 years, United States Air Force, author of the book, It's Okay to Be Broken. And we call him Bad Rob, right,
Yep.
Barry?
He is. He's bad, Rob, but he's a great guy.
Yes, he is. We'll see everyone next week, 7 p.m. right here, live on Heroic Episodes. God bless.
Thank you, everybody.